So see students, dynamic method dispatch. Okay, what I'll do is I'll directly explain with the program, then I'll explain the theory part. So you will feel comfortable with the theory. Okay, if I directly explain first the theory, then you will not able to understand. First, I will explain the program, then you will understand the theory part of what is dynamic method dispatch. So see here, this is a simple program, class A, class program which is having three classes, class A, B, C, and class dispatch. I've already copied this one also. I will open the program. Yeah, dispatch.java. Okay, the name is dispatch only, no? Yeah, dispatch.java, that is. So this is the program, and what I'll do is I will run the program also so that you can see the output, and then I will explain the program, then I will explain the theory. So see here. So now see here, what I'm doing is I'm compiling the program first. What is the name of the file? This program I have saved this. Here you can see dispatch.java. So remember, whatever the names might be in this class A, B, C, dispatch, this is the name. See, I'm moving my mouse. So that is the main thing. That is the file name. So with this name, you have to compile the program. You can have any name over there. So dispatch spelling is correct. Okay. So this is compiled now. I will run the program. You all see here, Java space dispatch. Okay, fine. So the next thing what you have to remember is in this file there are four classes. So which class is the main class? This class. So with this name you have to run the program. So this is the way. Okay. So better for confusion, every time what the people will suggest is what is the main class name, with that name only you save the file so that you need not get confused. Okay, that is also one thing benefited. If you have to both the things same, you will not have error, you will not forget, there will be no confusion. Okay then students, after this, now see with the program what actually it is happening over here is, you can see over here at line number 21, there is an object A, small a, to class A, then small b to class B, then line number 23, small c, is an object to class C. Okay, now after that, class A, there is one reference R. Okay, for this one, what you have to do is, again what I'm going to show you is, I'm going to show you one diagram in the initial classes of your class, that is concept of class, that is chapter 6. See here, we are into 178. No, I will move back and I will show the diagram over here. I hope you all remember. You have remembered that. See here at line number 6. Sorry, chapter number 6. Where is the diagram? This one. When you are assigning new, no, then here my box is allocated with that whatever is there in class box. Now you see here, with this statement, with this particular statement, what is happening here with this one? With this one, this is the thing. Okay. When B2 is equal to B1, no, so B2 will be allocated with whatever is B1 is having. So now same thing. Now under dynamic method dispatch in this particular program, you see A, then there is one reference R. That concept only means because there is no new operator, only R is reference. It is not allocated with anything. But after this line, you can observe the next line, that is line number 25. So what is R now? R is now assigned with the object of A. So at line number 26, when you are going to call R dot call me, so this R will call the call me method of call A, as all the three classes A, B, C are having call me method. But due to this line number 26, R reference is assigned with from line number 25 A. R is equals to A from line number 25. So at line number 26, when it is calling R dot call me, so it will call the call me method of class A. That is done. Then after that, at line number 27, you all please concentrate. R is now assigned to B. So at line number 28, when R dot call me is a method call, so now it will invoke the method which is available in class B. So this is known as dynamic method dispatch. So this all things are happening at the point of runtime. So this concept is dynamic method dispatch. Now at line number 29, R is now assigned to C. So at line number 30, R dot call me means it will call the call me method of class C. Okay, so this is the program's explanation what I've explained now. Now we will see anyone having doubt, you can ask me. Same program with the next program, only the names will be changed. That I will show you what is the difference. But now we will see the theory part. See here. This is not needed. See here. Method overriding forms the basis for one of Java's most powerful concept, that is dynamic method dispatch. Method overriding. So as I explained you just now, what is method overriding? Means this is method overriding only. No? You see class A, class B is subclass of class A. Even class C is subclass of class A. Okay, the child classes B and C are the childs of A. So they are also having same method, no, call me. So, so this is nothing but method overriding only, this concept. So you can see method overriding forms the basis for one of the Java's most powerful concept, that is dynamic method dispatch. Means the advanced or the new thing from method overriding is dynamic method dispatch. Means this particular structure, what you are seeing, that is this thing. What you are seeing from here till here is method overriding. But from line number 25, 24, you can see this concept is what? The dynamic method dispatch. Means this particular concept, method overriding, the one which I've highlighted, this is forming the basis for this concept, that is dynamic method dispatch. That is the meaning. Okay then, so you can see what do you mean by dynamic method dispatch. That is dynamic method dispatch is the mechanism by which a call to an overridden method is resolved at runtime rather than at compile time. I'm repeating, students, dynamic method dispatch is the mechanism by which a call to an overridden method is resolved at runtime rather than at compile time. Means in this particular program, what actually is happening over here is, see, at during runtime, R will be equal to A. So R dot call me means at runtime it will invoke this method call me. Why it is invoking call me of class A? Because from line number 25, R is assigned with A. After that is done, line number 27, now R is assigned to B. Now R is assigned to B. So this is happening at runtime only. So now R dot call me at line number 28 will call the method of class B. That is the point. Similarly with 29 and 38 line also. So this is this point what I have explained just now. That is what? This one, the one which I have highlighted. Dynamic method dispatch is the mechanism by which a call to an overridden method is resolved at runtime. Why? Because all the methods are overridden. So this is done at runtime rather than at compile time. So one more point to remember, dynamic method dispatch is important. Why? Because this is how Java implements runtime polymorphism. What do you mean by runtime polymorphism? Polymorphism means what? One interface, many methods. Means in this class A has got call me. Okay. So same call me method, at one time it is displaying A's call me. After a few seconds, it is displaying B's call me. Then after a few seconds, it is displaying C's call me. I hope you all have understood this. Okay, students, I hope you all have understood the concept that is dynamic method dispatch. Now, this part, it is in this one, this is the explanation what I have explained now with the program. Okay, if you read out, you can understand whatever I've explained with the program in the notepad, this one that is. Now, see students, same thing now. The next program, just a minute. I will keep this aside here. Now, you see here, applying method overriding. Okay, now, you all please observe, same students, please concentrate. In this particular notepad, the first program of this dynamic method dispatch. So this is the basic program. What you see in textbook, I have copied here. I am showing here. Now I'm scrolling down. You can see applying method overriding. Same program, instead of class A, here you can see class A. So here you can see class figure. So what class figure is having? Two variables and one constructor. Okay, and one method also. You can see method. Now at line number 7, you see here in the notepad, class B extends A, means B is a child to A, inheriting A. Similarly, here you see rectangle is inheriting figure, means B is inheriting class A, like that. Similarly, here line number 13 in the notepad, you can see class C is inheriting A. Similarly, over here class triangle is inheriting figure, class figure, that is C extends A, like that it is. Now, line number 19, it is named as dispatch. Here, this is the main class from execution start, that is find areas. And the rest of the thing is same thing. Okay, it will take more 3 minutes for me. Please concentrate. This is very important now. I will open the program. What is the name of this program? You see here, find areas. Okay, I will open the program first. Find areas. And I will execute the program. You all can observe the output also. Find areas. F-I-N, because the file name is find. A-R-E-S. I've compiled this. This program is compiled now. Now what to do is execute the command program. Now you all can see the output. Now students, see here, method overriding with dynamic method dispatch. See what actually it is. See, there are three constructors or three objects, I can say F, R, T. Okay, I will provide the line numbers also. You can see line number 36, 37, 38. Okay, there are three objects F, R, T. But you all please observe, this is very, very important. From line number 36, figure 10, 10 is a constructor call to line number 5. Here it is. So AB from here, AB will be 10, 10. So dimension 1, dimension 2. Please note down, concentrate students, dimension 1, dimension 2 of object F. Of object F, dimension 1, dimension 2 is 10, 10. Okay. Now, similarly, 37th line, there is a constructor call 9, 5. So it will come here. Then in that it will come at line number 15, A, B, that is 9, 5. From here it will call the constructor of its parent. So now dimension 1, dimension 2 is 9, 5. But you have to remember 9, 5, that is dimension 1, dimension 2 is 9, 5. But to which object? To the object R. I hope you all have understood. Same thing is with T also. Same thing is with T. I need not explain that. So dimension 1, dimension 2 with object T is 10, 8 now. Next thing is, I will scroll down. Now you all see here, small FIG-REF is a reference. So at line number 40, FIG-REF is initialized or is assigned with R. Okay. What is R actually? R is R is an object to class rectangle. So now when 41th line, is calling the area. So it will call whose area? It will call the area of rectangle. So it is returning what? Dimension 1 and dimension 2. That is the area of rectangle. What are the dimensions for rectangle? As we have seen just now, dimension 1, dimension 2 of rectangle, it is 9,5. So it will return here the product of 9,5. So you can see the output also. Okay, students, this is done now. Then after this, you all please observe. Now it is initialized, FIGREF is initialized with T. So when FIGREF is calling area, it will call the area of triangle. That is this one. So now you can see it will display this. After that, it will return the dimension 1 into dimension 2 divided by 2. But with what dimension 1 and dimension 2? That is 10,8. Okay. So it will return the product of that is 10,8 divided by 2. That is over here. So this is the thing. So you can see the output over here. This is done, students. Similarly, at last, line number 44, FIGREF is assigned with F. So now this particular method call will invoke the method of which class? Class figure. From 45th line, it will return this. So this will be the output. You can see here, just a minute. You can see here this one. That is 10th line is displayed here. And what it is returning? It is returning 0. Nothing it is returning. Hence 0 it is returning, man. Let it be 0. So you can see here, I will scroll down now, return 0 from 11th line. It will return here 0. Over here, you can see the output. Area is 0. I hope you all have understood this. So see, students, this is the concept of dynamic method dispatch. You'll please try to read this again. And whenever a question comes, you have to write this points, the one which is highlighted. And what I have explained, no, that you can write in your own words.